Who was the best character in season 2? Let's get into it. Starting off with our protagonist, player 456. Back again in the game. Very, very different to last year. And I think the main difference with him from the previous season, he now has a purpose in life. You know, before he was in debt. He didn't know where he was going. He lost his family, those sort of things. Whereas in this season, he knows what he needs to do. He needs to take down the games from the inside. That's his whole MO this season. He's very mysterious and dark. I really, really liked how he was basically the polar opposite. I liked how he addressed the issues and like talking to the people in the game. I felt like he could have done it a little bit more. There was a few times where I thought, you know, you could definitely sway a few of these people by very much talking about the ins and outs of the games, because they ended up not believing him. But then I guess he would have just got shot and been in trouble. But I really like the fact that why he went into the game, it wasn't a plan A, it was a plan B. When I saw season 2 was announced, I thought, why not would he go back in? Why not would he go back? He had a plan A. Find the person who got him into the game and go from there. And I really, really liked him in this season. He's very different. I think he's got to go A tier. He's an A tier for me. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I'm putting him in A tier. All right, we're going to move over to his best friend in the season, player 390. They were all right this season. I didn't really care for them too much. One of the things that really annoyed me about them was when they picked the blue card over the red card to play one more game. I didn't really think they were like that great. Obviously, they had the little marine thing back and forth with the other person, and I don't really remember the character from season 1. That's probably the main problem. But of course, at the end, he fights side by side with our protagonist, and obviously is the consequence of our protagonist's actions. Is him dying and getting shot as a lesson to not be a hero. And I really liked that as well. I thought he was just a nice character, and I didn't want him to die. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to put him in a B tier. He wasn't bad, he wasn't great. You know what, maybe C tier. C tier, just an alright character. Let's mix things up here. I'm going to go with the mystical woman. I'm just going to go straight F, guys. I really didn't like this character. And I'm not like, oh, if you want to be woo-woo and all that stuff, go for it. Go for it. That's not the problem. I just thought they didn't really bring much to this season, and I think maybe they could bring something to next season. You know, season 3 is definitely going to be happening because it ended on a cliffhanger. They might bring something more to it in that season. Don't know what they could possibly do, but I felt like what they brought to it was quite unnecessary. And also, what I would have liked is after the spinning top issue, where obviously our character had to slap her multiple times to wake her up because they only had 30 seconds left. If that led her to maybe question her beliefs, maybe then I would have liked it. Maybe then I would have been, you know, thinking it was good. Whereas after that, she continues in that same vein of form, but I thought that was the turning point. I thought that was going to be the shift in her character to make her a little bit more enjoyable. Like, that would have been really, really interesting to explore. You know, she's in these games where she's trusting in her god or in her beliefs, and then she feels like her beliefs or her god have left her in the lurch when she needed them most. So she should probably challenge those beliefs, maybe. We might as well get rid of one of the characters that didn't even make it past episode 1. It is obviously the person in the first season who was giving the loans out to our protagonist and is now actually working with him, which I really liked that difference. I did like that difference, that he was, you know what, he came back, he paid his debts voluntarily, he liked that, and now he's hiring us. What I did really, really like, as I didn't expect it. I didn't expect him to not move his hands. You know, when you see the leader of a mob, or, you know, someone that's the boss kind of thing, they don't really have that heart. You know, they don't have that side. They're very ruthless. I survive. I don't even care if I ordained your wedding or whatever. You're dead. You know, I come first. But you could tell that he, in that moment, the way he looked at him, I thought the acting in that scene was so incredible. That sequence was so intense. And I thought he was really, really well done. He's not in the show enough for me to go higher, but I think I'll go B tier. I just liked him in it. Speaking of his friend in that moment, it was this character here. I wasn't sure about him at the beginning. He's okay. He wasn't the best character later down the season. I didn't really care for that second story, the B story of them trying to find the island. Not that I didn't care for it. I thought it was quite cool, actually, but I wasn't invested into it. I wasn't really invested into the characters in it. So I think that it puts him in a C tier for me. Let me know if you agree. He wasn't really funny. I felt like he was trying to be the funnier character in it. I didn't really find him that funny, so that's probably why he's stuck at a C tier. Now, we've got one in every single category here, but we haven't got one in S, and I actually have to put an S tier in right now. The mum. I'm sorry, I've never watched a show and been so invested into a character. Every scene that she was in, I just loved her. She unconditionally, to the T, to the explanation, unconditionally loves her son, you know, even though he's done all these things, even though he went against her wishes and voted to go again. You know, she still has this unconditional love for him. She cares for the pregnant woman who's younger, obviously, and she wants to lend a helping hand to her. And then when she got left in the mingle game, I thought, you're not going to do this to me, are you? You're not going to do this to me. And then, of course, our two characters, our protagonist and antagonist, grab her and save her. I thought that was really, really, really good as well. Yeah, let me know if you disagree. I thought she was my favorite character. She was my favorite character. And again, it's probably because I'm a mummy's boy, okay? So I probably feel like I'm like these two characters, like this is me and that's my, you know. Anyway, this character now, her son, C tier. He was jarring, man. He was jarring. But there's no way I'm getting grabbed by two other guys to go into a room and I'm leaving my mum there. There's no way. I ain't letting that happen. I'm throwing hands. I'm breaking out. I'm going to get her. I'm going to save her. Do you know what I mean? And no, that wasn't just that. It was when he clicked the button as well. I thought that was a bit shoddy. You know, again, they explain it, and I understand the explanation of why they wanted to click it one more time, because it wouldn't cover their debts and things like that. But he just put his mum through too much hell, man. And and because she's an S tier and my favorite character, because you put her through so much hell, you're going down there. I think we're going to do all the people that are included with Thanos. So Thanos, his best buddy that he doesn't even know his name, the person that they picked on all the time, and the girl that was with them, okay? I'm going to do all of those four. We're going to start off with Thanos. Now, you need to remember with these characters, with a character like Thanos, with a character like that, they are there to be annoying. You're supposed to dislike that character. And that means they've been written well, because I very much do dislike that character. You know, he's cringy, he thinks he's cool, but he's not. He thinks he's hard and strong and stuff, but he'll get messed up in seconds, which I did like that they did show, which is always, everyone loves when a bully gets done in. One thing I did quite like, I'm a Marvel fan, of course. I did quite like the Thanos and then the, you know, coloured in fingernails for each Infinity Stone. I thought that was quite cool. I don't think they're a B tier. I think they're probably better than them, because you got to remember, that's why the character is written to be annoying, and they were. This character though, his friend that I don't remember the name, he don't remember the name, no one remembers your name because you're a dickhead, you're F tier. Like, they didn't have any redeeming qualities. And I know, again, I've just kind of gone against my word, they were built to be annoying, but like, he was creepy. He was a little bit creepy. Didn't like how the actor played him. I just didn't like that character. It made me feel very uncomfortable every time they spoke. And it's interesting that we didn't see them at any point after the attack at the night. You know, the attack in the night, he obviously kills the girl. You don't see him when they're trying to pick up the guns to go fight fight back and try and get into the control room and things like that. You don't see him. So, you know, he acts all the big, and I hate people like that. Going into the last two, the person who unfortunately did die, I thought she was just a very solid C tier. No higher, no lower. Just, you know, she tried to redeem this character, tried to show him the way out, like tried to give him those indications to ignore them and you know, go about himself differently, but he just didn't listen. He basically had no cojones, man. He literally bottled it, and he's the reason she's dead, which I think is going to be a big story, you know, a secondary story, but a big thing in season 3. I think we're going to see a lot from him in season 3, and they built him up to have a turn in the next season. Going on to him, when he whipped out the scissors when she was trying to grab his hand, and he said, well, that's paper. As much as it was absolutely cruel as anything, quite smart, you know, survival of the fittest. He was switched on quicker than her. So I have to put him C tier. Like, those characters were just there in the show, do you know what I mean? They weren't really pivotal. You didn't have to really like them or love them, but they were there. In the crypto scammer, I thought, first off, adding like that sort of element to it was also just a nice addition, like a very interesting, intriguing addition. Somebody's in there in debt, and they've caused other people to potentially be in debt by their recommendation. I think he's a little bit misunderstood in certain moments. Like, I do feel for him, and I feel like he actually probably didn't, maybe he was done in as well, you know, maybe he did promote the coin and the cryptocurrency because he thought it was actually going to be good, and then he got lied to, and he was the one that was played, but now he's the face of it, so he gets all the abuse, you know. That I kind of saw that in him. But then when he does that with his pregnant ex-partner, when he does that to her and says we should get back together, and she works out, it's just because he wants to join the money together and it gets him out of debt. That's when I thought, all right, buddy, you've got a problem. I didn't mind the character, and I did like the element of them having that difference, but I do think it's another C tier character. I love the characters in the season. Why am I being so stingy with their placements? Have I not gotten to the good ones yet? No, I feel like I've been quite harsh on the characters. I'm going to put him C tier though, because he actually is a C tier. But maybe I'm going to move the protagonist's friend to B tier, because he's all right. You know, he's calm. We're going to move over to, as I just said, the pregnant ex-partner of the cryptocurrency person. I really liked her. I really did like her, because it was a dynamic, again, not explored in the first season. Somebody that is in a very, very hard situation and has opted to go into something extreme, like this game, even in their condition of being pregnant and almost due. I thought that was quite an intriguing thing to explore. And she's obviously in debt because she trusted her ex-partner into the coin. I really did like her, and you know, you could only help but feel for her in that situation. You know, she's in pain in certain moments, and that's why I loved the mum, because she comes in and you know, gives her that guidance that she probably didn't have, because she says she doesn't have parents. Like, there's so much to her, and she was a little bit mysterious as well. You don't see too much, but there was more to her, and I did like her. I'm gonna put her in B tier, probably higher than the friend. We've got a few characters here that have not got as big of roles that will probably go down into the C tier as well, unfortunately. But it is the person who is running the games this season. Is he like a military leader? He's obviously the person who gets in the henchman, I think, because he knows the character there. He's a nothing character, is he? Like, he has one scene really where he tells her XYZ. So I'm gonna put him in C tier. No problem with him, just in the show really. The police detective, I wanted to see more from him, and you only would have seen more from him if he made it to the island, which I'm assuming we're going to see in season 3. I like him as a character as a whole. Like, this season, not so much, but I'm going to put him bottom of B, because I just like him as a character. As a character, he's very, very good. The captain of the ship, there's so many people in C. I'm going to put him bottom of C. Like, I'm sorry, my sister actually messaged me after episode 4 and said, we think the captain of the ship is going to be the leak. And I was like, no, I think that too. And if it's not, I'm going to be very surprised. I thought it was so obvious that the captain was the leak. There was literally one conversation where he like takes the longest pause you ever seen. That's so unnatural. And you're like, he's clearly dodgy. He's clearly got some ulterior motive going on. He's kind of a nothing character. Yeah, just in the show really. Well, quickly, let's get rid of 246. 246 is another C tier character, isn't it? They're not in the show enough. You've got the emotional connection to them because, of course, their child is suffering with cancer, I believe, and is ill. But they're not really in the show until the Mingle game, really. So I've probably put them here. Like that. Let's start off with the man at the very beginning, who we finally got to see a little bit more of. You know, he's now buying bread and lottery tickets to try and go to the homeless people. Why? Just because his mind is not wired the same. He sees them as less. He sees them as vermin. He sees them as animals. I thought the exploration of him this season, of like, actually there's more to him, and actually it's quite dark. But his own dad, because of how much he believes in anyone in the game, is less than him, is not human, needs to be exterminated. Do you know what I mean? That sort of terminology. And he did, even though it was his flesh and blood, even though it was his dad. I think he's an A tier character. I think he's such an interesting character, and I would have liked to see more from him, but because he was so volatile, so just crazy when he was doing the Russian roulette. Low-key, one of them was a little bit sensual as well. When he put the gun up in his mouth and he like stares into our protagonist's eyes, I was like, this is whoa, what's going on here? But yeah, A tier character for me. 3 very strong characters this season. I want to go, because we haven't gone to an S tier in a while, I want to go to an S tier, and it is the trans woman. I genuinely loved that character. I thought the story, you know, at the beginning they're very quiet, you don't hear from them. You know, in the second game, you're introduced to them a lot more, but you really see her come into her own in that game when she tells, you know, the other person to, you know, to believe in herself, and she helps them along the way, and then of course goes to the extreme of slapping the woman in the face to try and get her to do the game, asking everyone to look away when she's doing her game. I thought that was an interesting thing to explore, and then she speaks about it. I thought it was a very well written character, where actually is quite an interesting thing to think about. Squid Game is probably the biggest show in the world right now when you really do go into the nitty-gritties and think about it, like the actual people watching, the amount of people watching the show. And I think adding in a character like that into the show that doesn't feel forced, that doesn't feel like it's pushing an agenda onto you, even though some people, I'm sure if you go to the depths of Twitter or something, some people are going to be angry that even a trans woman's mentioned, and they'll be really livid by it. But it was a character that I felt, you know, even if you did think differently, which obviously our my favorite character in the show did, the mum, she thought differently to her at the very beginning, but like her, you know, like some of the audience watching it, we get to know her more and see her story and hear her. And like the mum did at the end, you know, you come to love her, come to have a lot of care for her in the show. And I can't help but think that surely some people watching it who maybe think similar to the mum watching it would feel the same. And I think that's just a very well written character in it. And they've also just this kind of like the comparison to her being, you know, fired from the army, and because of her coming out and transitioning and things like that. Yeah, I really liked the fact that at the end that she kind of leads the crew and leads the contestants as an army, you know, kind of thing. One character that I didn't like at the beginning too much, I thought they were a bit cringy, you know, the sir, like the way they were talking. But actually, when you think about it, that was all because, did he ever join the Marines? Was it PTSD? How I interpreted it is he never joined the Marines, or he never was like really, really involved with the Marines. However, from what he was saying, you know, he's a youngest son of multiple older sisters. His dad was the one that said he needs to go off to the Marines. He needs to go out to become more like a man. He's so good at the game that's associated with, you know, the girls because he's playing with his sisters. You know, he's probably a man in touch with his feminine side. You know what I mean? It was very interesting looking back on it from the end, and then you really do think about what he said before. Like, he never wanted to go down that arc. He never wanted to be that. He never wanted to do that. He was forced into it by his dad because his dad said you weren't man enough, and that's what his dad associated with being man enough, was going to the army and going to be part of the Marines. And it wasn't him. It isn't him. What he did excel at, what he was amazing at, was the thing that was associated in the game that was associated more with what women play. And like that was just an interesting thing to explore. And I'm intrigued to hear more dialogue from him in season 3 of why he does that, and what, you know, why he did react that way. I wasn't going to put him here, but with that last episode, it does put him into S tier for me. I really liked that like kind of shock discovery, not shock, but like that interesting discovery at the end. And it does lead us to the final person, the antagonist. The only thing with him is you knew at the very end he was going to go back to bad. You know, when he told those two people to walk up the stairs, he was like, you knew it was going to happen. You knew he was going to shoot them. Overall, with this character, I thought, you know, we've seen somebody who runs the game be in the game. We saw it last season, 001. We saw it already. I thought this time around, it was incredible. You know, you've got the dramatic irony of us, the audience, knowing that he is the man in charge. Him, I feel like, getting more invested into the games than he thought. So like in the game, the scene of him watching his team complete the tasks all in one go, it gets to the spinning top and he can't complete it, and he kind of loses his head, he loses his cool, because he knows he's not going to get killed and shot, do you know what I mean, because he's in charge. But he's angry, not because he thinks he's going to die, but because he can't do it. And I think it was like a really cool thing of him realizing, like, oh, this person, he deems these people as creatures, as lowlifes, as like vermin that need to be exterminated. That's how he deems these people. And he can't complete the game. He can't complete the game that these 3 people before him completed in the first try. Do you know what I mean? And I thought that was him just like having this sort of this realization, this like anger that he's not better than them. Of course I'm better than them. Like, that's how his mindset's probably working. Of course I'm better than these people. And I just thought adding him in, it's been done before, but now we know, dramatic irony, everything like that. I thought it was a great character. I'm going to put him A tier, probably above 4, 5, 6. I am going to change one thing. I'm going to move the son up to above the friend. Okay, I was a little bit harsh on him. I was more upset because he almost let my favorite character die. The mum. But yeah, I think as a character, he actually, you know, I felt for him more, and he does love his mum, innit? Like, he was looking after her. He didn't leave her on purpose at any point, even though I did kind of like call him out for that. B tier. I'm going to move him up. I think I'm happy with that list. Let me know, is there one outlier here that you're really angry at me for? Which one here would you move up and down? And there's more characters in the show that I did like as well that aren't on this list. As I said, the henchman that was working, I'd put them in A tier. What a brilliant idea and a brilliant concept. But thank you so much for going through to another Floppyleggs YouTube video. If you're not subscribed, please do drop a sub. And I hope to be a lot more active in 2025, so please do drop a sub, and I'll see ya when I see ya.